Preserving basic human dignity. HeadsUP Guidance and Wellness Centers of Nevada was founded upon the dream of the late Governor Mike and First Lady Carolyn O'Callaghan.
My name is Dan Thicalora. I am the Director of Rehabilitation Services here at HeadsUP and also one of the therapist interns.
I'm Donna Wilburn, licensed marriage and family therapist and a clinical supervisor.
I'm Dr. Patrick Scott, Clinical Director of HeadsUP Guidance and Wellness Centers of Nevada.
What we envision is a community which is empowered with tools and resources to be able to live their life to the fullest, and to be able to be empowered to build bridges of empowerment for others to cross. This way we create a stronger community, a healthier community, a community that is building future generations also that are empowered. If you look at HeadsUP, it's called HeadsUP Guidance and Wellness Centers of Nevada, a division of O'Callaghan Family Services. Let me tell you, to be a prominent Nevada family and to be able to say, yes, there's probably 90% of our family that has used these services, and we're proud of it. And you know what? They serve a purpose. We're healthier, we're more understanding, we're more compassionate. Not only that, we've all taken our experiences from the past and we've applied them to be able to help others in the future.
When I think about Colleen and the things that she offers and the company that she started, I am just struck by her undying commitment to the Las Vegas community and the health and wellness of its citizens. More than anyone that I've ever met, just genuinely cares for every person that lives in this valley and wants to make sure that they are being the best version of themselves that they can be. She has an amazing ability to see the potential in each person and just really help that person bring out their potential.
Who gets teased the most of all the brothers? I mean,
wow, that's a hard question to answer, but I would say Randy. He's not here, but Randy.
Now, if you ask the question, who is the parent's favorite, we can answer that like that.
Who's that?
Me.
Me.
Whoa! You didn't say you, Marlon. You was like, nope.
No, Jermaine.
Really? What about Janet? Come on. No?
No, Jermaine gets away with everything.
Really?
He's a mama's boy.
Yeah, he's a mama's boy. He's been a mama's boy since he was like that. He would tell on his own self.
There you go, Jermaine Jackson, a mama's boy. Never thought we'd hear that. Well, that, of course, the Jacksons talking about their mother's favorite kid. It's like 9 of them. While they were funny, seriously playing favorites is not a funny thing. It can hurt your child's self-esteem and his or her relationship with other siblings. And here to break it all down is an expert in her own right, my friends. She's a mother of 6 boys. Colleen O'Callaghan Miley, thank you for being here, Colleen. How are you?
You're welcome. Great. Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about this. You had 6 boys. God bless you, first of all. I don't know how you survived that, but let's talk about that. You know, one of the things I hear a lot from parents is you don't necessarily play favorites, although people on the outside see that. You do cater to each individual child's needs.
That's important because each individual child has their own special needs and their uniqueness, and they have their challenges. They all come with their own set of challenges. So then it's really important to identify the uniqueness and then also to address their challenges individually.
Do you remember any of the challenges that you had? Now, again, you had 6 boys, so I'm sure it's hard to remember a lot of stuff. You were keeping up with a lot of people. But do you remember any particular challenge that really stumped you and had you, you know, stepping back, you and your husband thinking, okay, what do we do now?
Probably my own experience would not necessarily be my husband, but the tantrum in the store. And you have all 6 children, and one, it gets pulled aside, and then all of a sudden you ask yourself, well, what do I do in this situation? And you get kind of stumped because they're all different. So that would be my #1 experience.
Just to recognize the fact that they're all different, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So now you got to plan activities with each child, their needs and their uniqueness in mind. That can be overwhelming when you have 6.
It can, but when you plan them and you make the children aware of the fact that the focus is in something that is an area that is one child's, you know, need and uniqueness, and creates their own sense of, you know, specialty. Then everybody gets involved and everybody feels like they're a part of that.
Yeah, because every child wants to feel like they're special, even if it's in a big group like that.
And we teach the other children to that they get to be a part of that specialness.
Nice, very cool. Okay, so when siblings are involved, trying to teach each equally usually backfires and undermines children's individuality. Explain that.
Well, it does. What happens is when you're disciplining one and or you're creating something and you're trying to do it all equally.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fit the one person's and one child's uniqueness. It doesn't fit their characters. It doesn't actually relate to them, so they feel like they're
like out of place.
Yeah, and it kind of devalues them. It takes away their specialness and their individuality.
Yeah, very cool. Well, my friend, you look great. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, her oldest is in his 30s, and she has 2 grandchildren, so she did something very good.
Thank you.
Khalid, thank you so much. We appreciate it. I'm going to talk to you during commercial break. All right.
Mental health is an often much maligned part of the overall health care picture. And for us, serving the underserved and having services available, excellent services available for the community, for those that have Medicaid or who are indigent or who are underinsured, is really important to us, because we believe that mental health really does support overall health, and we're trying to demystify mental health and make it more available to anyone, families, children, parents. And along with that comes a lot of education about mental health and behavioral health and what wellness actually looks like. And so we're very proud of what we've created here.
Along with their dedicated colleagues who shared the vision to enhance the mental health of Nevadans, the O'Callahans dedicated their lives to others, especially those in the margins of society.
In the spring of 2008, in collaboration with the City of Las Vegas Housing Authority, Colleen began to set the groundwork that would ultimately become what is now HeadsUP Guidance and Wellness Centers. Since its opening in October 2008, HeadsUP has served over 8,000 clients and has helped those clients and their families live lives of greater peace and function.
What happens, though, when your child is the bully? Now the tables have turned, right? Licensed marriage and family therapist Donna Wilburn is here with 3 signs that you need to be aware of. You know, Donna, that's really scary, but it's really important for parents to look out for those signs. Let's talk about the bully before we get into your tips. Let's talk about the bully and why they actually become the bully.
And honestly, bullying is a power position.
Yeah.
So it's not about just wanting to hurt somebody or being mean to somebody. These are kids that they have issues and they are trying to resolve something inside themselves by acting like this to others.
And when you're a kid, you really don't know how to resolve an issue like a grown-up, so you do the best you can. Okay, the first sign that you talk about is a child having low self-esteem.
So like I said, bullying is a power issue. Okay, so typically it's the person with low self-esteem that's trying to boost their ego by dominating somebody. So it's usually somebody weaker, somebody smaller, and this is from adults to kids.
Oh yeah.
It's always based in their low self-esteem. This is how they feel power or stronger or better about themselves, is when they can dominate.
And speaking of adults, just take a look at Jonathan Martin, the football player, and I can't remember the guy who's actually the bully. I heard a soundbite from him earlier this week. He said he just got tired of it. It's not that he hasn't been, you know, kind of pushed around growing up and he didn't know how to handle it. He said it was just consistent and he got tired of it, so he removed himself from the situation. So that's what kids, I guess,
the healthy thing to do, is to walk away. So when you're looking at your child, and this is really hard for parents to own that their child might be a bully. So many parents are in denial about it. So really trying to be honest with looking at your child. If they have low self-esteem, if you tend to be a critical parent, if they're talking bad about themselves or negative about themselves, that child could be at risk for being a bully.
Yeah, and be in trouble. Now you say if your child gets angry easily.
All right, so this is, you know, bullying is an aggression type behavior. So if your child's showing aggressive, even if they're playing with toys and crashing their toys, if they tend to throw things when they're upset, this is someone who, when they lose it or get upset, might hurt somebody.
See, and that's scary in this day and age, because now when kids get angry, they're bringing guns to school.
They are, and you know those video games out there are very violent. So it's not the video game that causes violence, but if a child who tends to be more aggressive or violent, they might also tend to want to watch those kind of games more.
All right, and the last one, you say a child has been bullied, and that's scary because it could have happened at home.
It can a lot of times, and I have to tell you, the parent is the bully a lot of the times.
That's a sad thing.
It is sad. So when children are trying to resolve what's going on inside themselves, they tend to repeat the behavior. So if your child is bullying somebody, or if your child was bullied and they didn't get that resolved or taken care of, they might tend to repeat that and bully someone else until they can resolve what that is and the trauma that they went through themselves.
Pay attention, be in your child's life.
Please be honest. Be honest.
There you go. And folks, again, these signs are your child has low self-esteem, gets angry easily, or they have been bullied already. So Donna, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Heads Up brings a service to Las Vegas that really is missing in this state, and that's quality behavioral health treatment. Working with individuals, couples, families, children, helping them overcome trauma, stress, emotional disorders, divorce, addiction, whatever it takes to help our state be healthy. And I have to say that due to depression being so high and addiction being so high in Las Vegas, there really is such a strong need for quality behavioral health. And I'm glad Heads Up is here to provide it.
We service all kinds of clients. It changes from day to day, whether it be children as young as 2 or 3 to adults and senior citizens, dealing with a whole wide variety of issues from bereavement and depression to anxiety and behavioral problems for children and adolescents. We are such a cross-sampling of the Las Vegas community. The services that we offer here are a vital part of any community, and here in Las Vegas in particular, there is a lack of mental health services that are accessible. And what our main goal here at Heads Up is always to be accessible to everybody, to really provide a service that's needed in the community and really help our community grow and prosper and thrive. Psychosocial rehabilitation and basic skills training, which we call PSR and BST, are really meant to be an adjunct or an addition to therapy. These are for the clients, whether they be children or adolescents or even some adults, that are not getting the desired results or not succeeding or thriving as much in traditional therapy as we would hope. PSR and BST really strive to take the things, the issues and the goals that you talk about with your therapist, and then work on them in a real-world environment, whether that be at school or at home or in the community, to give you that extra edge, an extra helper, extra couple hours a week just to focus on you and your goals or the goals of your child.
The world of entertainment has lost a number of stars in recent years due to some form of addiction, be it food, alcohol, and/or drugs. And with the recent loss of Glee star Corey Monteith, who has publicly confessed to his ups and downs with substance abuse, addiction seems to be a deadly demon that most cannot conquer. Now, even though we really don't know the cause of death for Corey Monteith, we do want to help you recognize the signs of addiction, just in case that someone you love has fallen victim. Now, Dr. Patrick Scott, he's been here many times before. He's an addiction specialist and he heads up Nevada. He is here with more. And Doc, thank you so much for coming in. And again, I want to emphasize the fact that we still don't know, the cause of death for Corey Monteith, but it certainly makes this issue top of mind for a lot of us. Talk about addiction in general.
Well, for decades, as long as I've been alive, celebrities have been dying and of addictions. And you can go back to Marilyn Monroe, you can go to Jimi Hendrix,
some
Janis
of the most
Joplin,
popular,
on and on and on. Then you have survivors of addiction, the Rolling Stones, Keith Richards, that have survived decades of addiction. And I don't know if the incidence of addiction in celebrities is higher than the general population. There might be some statistics out there, but they're just so very public. We hear about every detail. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston. I mean, any one of us could go in off the top of our head and name at least 6 to 10 celebrities in the last couple of years. Robert Downey Jr. On and on and on, who have either successfully recovered or are in recovery from an addiction or have succumbed to addiction. And it becomes very personal because we know people in our own lives that have suffered from addiction.
I tell you what, I am the product of an alcoholic father who later turned to drugs as well. And he was considered a productive alcoholic, did 35 years at Christ, so I don't know how he did it, and managed to retire. But he later, unfortunately, succumbed to his demons, and it was a grand mal seizure that ultimately killed him because his body could not continue. And as you get older and you're still doing the same thing that you did when you were in your 20s, the body just fails.
Right.
Let's talk about some tips, Doc, that you can recommend to people who are dealing with that. And I want you to emphasize the fact that if you love somebody, you actually get up in their face and you say something to them.
This is tough because one of the most profound markers of addiction is denial.
Yeah.
And so it's pervasive, you know, and in the 12-step tradition, the tradition of AA, you know, admitting you're powerless over alcohol or drugs is the first step.
Yeah.
And many folks never get to that step.
Yeah.
So and again, I'm very fortunate in my life to have people in my life that I've had friends for 30 years.
Yeah.
I was just telling you about spending some time over the weekend with some friends of 30 years. They will call me on my stuff.
Yeah.
I am not a doctor to them.
Yeah.
I'm just Patrick.
In other words, you stay grounded.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
You know, stay grounded. And again, addiction, it follows anyone. Anybody can suffer from addiction.
To the best.
Absolutely.
The best of the best can be addicted.
So to have people in your life that will tell you the truth and to pay attention.
Yeah. You say find balance. That's the second tip that you give us. How do you find balance? Because I remember when my father was in the house, we preferred that he not be in the house because there was always chaos when he would come in.
Sure. Balance is a journey. It's not a destination. All of us, and this is not exclusive to addiction. We all are struggling with that work-life balance, the health balance, the workout balance. Addiction, by definition, means something's not working.
Yeah.
Many of us will use alcohol socially, you know, recreationally, and most people will have no problem with it. On the continuum or the spectrum of use of substances of any kind, whether that's gambling or anything, there are what are called reasonable use all the way into very, very dysfunctional use.
Yeah.
And to find a balance where, you know, when's enough enough? When is it too much? And how are you going to cope with that? So I don't hold balance as anything we can ever, it's like perfection.
Yeah.
But it's something that can be warranted, and the user or the addict themselves has no insight into it. They can't see it. They're just doing what they're doing, and they're medicated.
Your final tip is the family history. That predisposes you to the addiction, right?
We do know addiction is hereditary. We do know that it runs in bloodlines in families. My mother was an alcoholic. My brother is in recovery for 42 years now.
Wow.
My sister wrestled with a very virulent Pepsi addiction she would laugh about.
Yeah.
But we have these markers or genetic predispositions for being attracted to anything, any kind of a substance, right?
And going overboard with
absolutely,
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so it runs in bloodlines. And so if you know that your family has, including it may not be diagnosed, it may not be a public, but you know that members of your family, of your bloodline, male and female bloodline, have a history of addiction, just to be aware that you also could suffer, and then look at your own behavior, whether that's with food, with you know, gambling, with anything that could become a problem, drugs, alcohol, to be aware, and then get some help. You know, we really were founded on 3 guiding principles. You know, the first was really clinical excellence, that we believed then and still believe that you can offer excellent mental health care, psychotherapy, psychiatry, medication management, rehabilitation services, and that those services can be offered to anyone that needs them. So clinical excellence really is our first pillar. Our second pillar really is excellence in teaching, and so we are a teaching facility, and we really believe that to the extent any of us are unhappy about the quality of therapist or quality of practitioner in Las Vegas, that we should take responsibility for creating the next generation. So we receive students, interns, practicum students from all different kinds of disciplines, behavioral health disciplines, and really believe that shaping the next generation of excellence in therapy is what we're about. The third pillar really is about legislative change, and Colleen, with her background in politics, with her certainly her family lineage, has been instrumental in, you know, really going to the source of some of our challenges in terms of the mental health system statewide. And we believe that legislative change, and some of it's, you know, been enacted, and we're still working very hard to make sure that Nevada citizens get the care that they need.
I know the value of having somebody to talk to and to be able to help process and work through issues. I understand and I know the value of counseling and sometimes medication management. Whatever the resources and tools are here, I know the value of it because I myself have experienced and benefited from counseling and the services that are offered here at HeadsUP. It's important to the community because I understand and I've experienced it myself, and I know that there is, for me, life after death. I know that there is healing after trauma. I know that there is relief through anxiety. I understand. And my goal would be to have anybody that comes into HeadsUP and works through whatever they're faced with, that they're able to know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is health and well-being after whatever experience we may be faced. It's called life, but there is life with hope, and there's life that's healing and being able to see a different perspective. The laws and legislative change on behavioral health and wellness is extremely important to us.
You know, we really were founded on 3 guiding principles. You know, the first was really clinical excellence, that we believed then and still believe that you can offer excellent mental health care, psychotherapy, psychiatry, medication management, rehabilitation services, and that those services can be offered to anyone that needs them.
Due to depression being so high and addiction being so high in Las Vegas, there really is such a strong need for quality behavioral health, and I'm glad HeadsUP is here to provide it.
HeadsUP Guidance and Wellness Centers of Nevada.
Sometimes you just need to talk.